Well, CJ was right. I was wrong. Bulls come all the way back, 19 points down to the Toronto Raptors in the play-in tournament. They get the win to advance. Season goes on. Toronto's going home. DeMar DeRozan's daughter is the MVP. Zach LaVine balled out. There is so much to talk about in such little time. On today's episode of Believe in Bulls here on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag. I'm your host, Nick Schultz, alongside my aforementioned partner, former Bulls Bench Bob member and Tennessee Vols, CJ Watson. CJ, I gave up hope. You laughed at me. You're still laughing because you were right. I'm sitting here giving you your flowers, giving you your credit. Well done, sir.
Hey, man, we'll take the humble brag. I was lucky once. I think I'm one of my 2-0 when you said you gave up on them so far. So
something like that. I think you're 2-0, 3-0.
Yeah,
you're undefeated. I know that. You're undefeated when I'm sitting here saying they're not going to win a game and they'll go out and prove me wrong. Right. But with the season on the line, the Bulls showed up in a big way. And 18 missed free throws from the Raptors. That made me cringe looking at the box score last night on Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter. But, we're going to dive into every aspect of that game, including the game's MVP who wasn't even on the court, after I tell you about our friends BetOnline.ag. BetOnline remains your number one source for all your basketball betting this season. Get analysis of every play, prop, and point at BetOnline. You'll find the latest odds, bracket contest, team matchups, and game trends at BetOnline. Updated odds for everything from the play-in tournament through the conference championships and the NBA finals, right through the championship game. BetOnline is your basketball headquarters this season. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV. To get that 50% bonus at BetOnline is where the game starts. Quickly here, let's look at the early lines for Bulls Heat. Bulls are once again 5.5-point underdogs, plus 180 on the line. According to BetOnline, so Miami's favored by 5.5. Play-in tournaments delivered so far, especially from a betting standpoint. And also, before I get too far ahead of myself, buy our shirt, Jordan Pippen 98, The Last Dance, exclusively at shop.believe.com. The guys do a great job putting stuff together to promote all the shows on the network. It's a growing list, too. The official shirt of our program, though, Jordan Pippen 98, The Last Dance, shop.believe.com. The link is in my Twitter and Instagram bios. I believe you can get a shirt like this on there. I don't know. They just kind of sent it to me one day, so I figured I'd wear it, mainly because it's like 75 degrees here, and I don't know how to handle myself not wearing quarter zips all the time. But maybe you can get one of these, too. I don't know. But, I thought about wearing some Bull stuff today because, wow, what a game. 109-105. Come all the way back 19 points down to become the first 10 seed to ever win in the play-in tournament. Granted, this thing's only been around a couple years, but still history. And man, I wrote him off at 19 points down, especially when Van Vliet hit that shot to end the first half. I know I wrote him off before the game anyway, but I was especially sitting here going, I even tweeted, okay, planning out the season recap pod. And then they came back from 19 down. They've done this all year. I did not expect that on that stage.
Yeah, it was definitely inspiring game. Definitely coming back from 19 down. We talked about it earlier in the podcast, how they couldn't get down big and, try to make these big comebacks. It's not going to work, but it worked this time. Jump shots were falling. I would like to see a little more ball movement, especially when they go down to Miami and play another great defensive team. So it's going to be interesting to see what they change, how they change it, and, if they can come out with a win again in Miami.
She's on my screen right now, so I got to bring it up. They got to bring their star defender with them. Get her out of class. DeMar DeRozan's daughter screaming during the free throws. It's on my screen right now. I wasn't going to talk about this till later, but it just works out perfectly. Screaming during the free throws. The Raptors missed 18 free throws. They went 18 for 36 from the free throw line. They lost by 4. I'm just going to present that information and just say free throws are free as usual.
Yeah. Same thing my dad would say. Free throws are free. They definitely tricked off that game, and she is the MVP. Even when I was watching the game and she was screaming, it would have thrown me off at all shooting free throws. So it threw me off just watching and hearing it. So she's definitely the MVP for this game, and they definitely need her in Miami doing the same thing right behind the bench again, or behind the basket. So whatever he needs to do to get her out of school, let it be done.
Can Dr. Donovan write a doctor's note? Can we make that a thing?
Anybody can.
Yeah, somebody say you're a doctor and write a doctor's note like they do on Twitter. Like the Bulls should put something out. Please excuse DeMar DeRozan from class.
Right. Seriously.
That's the biggest thing from the game outside of Zach LaVine having a big game, which we'll talk about. Everyone is talking about DeMar DeRozan's daughter. I love it. Yeah. And as if the pressure is not heavy enough with your season on the line in the play-in tournament, now you've got a 9-year-old screaming every time you shoot a free throw.
Yeah. It's definitely funny. It's definitely cool, and to see someone's daughter doing that, being inspired and supporting her dad. I think that's just makes it the icing on the cake, and they won, so it makes it even better.
Yeah, it helps they won. And I just say again, they missed, if they made 5 of those, they win the game. Like it's not like they missed 18 and lost by 17. No, they missed 18 and lost by 4.
Right.
This is how important free throws are, kids. If nothing else, go practice your free throws. They're in important moments. You just got to learn to block out the noise if you can. And I mean, that was my favorite part of the game. And the other favorite part of the game was Zach LaVine going full attack mode. 39 points, 30 of them came in the second half. He was doing everything. He was driving. He was shooting the 3. He played defense. Scott Van Pelt had a stat last night. Whoever Zach LaVine was defending shot 2 for 7 from the field. Zach LaVine put it all together at the perfect time.
Yeah, that's what you want from your superstar player. Just putting it all together, like you said, attacking the basket, getting threes, getting out in transition, just making the right play. I feel like even some of the shots I thought were questionable, obviously they went in, so I guess you can't question them when they go in, but that's the type of player he is. He has the freedom to take those shots, and he has the confidence to make them. So hopefully he can do the same thing in Miami, and other guys can step up big too.
Trying to remember when that was. Was it the third quarter? They were down like 10, and he goes down. It's like him and 2 other Raptors defenders. I'm like, cool, go to the rim. Yeah. He pulls up the 3, and it was the epitome of no. Okay, run in. Okay, do it again. Like, I mean, that's Zach. Like, know what you're gonna get. If it goes in, like you said, it's automatically a good shot. I mean, it doesn't matter. You could take it from 3/4 court. If it goes in, it's a good shot.
Like, yeah, for sure.
And when everything's falling like that, you've earned a couple of those.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's earned those shots, and like I said, he's taking that and has the confidence to make them. I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of players take them, but he has the confidence and knows that he can make them. And I think his teammates know the same thing and feel the same way. So, like I said, you say no, but if it goes in, it's a good shot.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. I mean, I feel like I speak for Bulls Nation when I'm saying there. Like, what are you doing? Oh, okay, it went in. Cool. Now get back on defense.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And he was playing defense too, like putting it all together. Like we said, he also played 40 minutes in the game. That was the most for the Bulls. This is the guy in Zach LaVine that you give the max extension to. When he plays like that, that's a max player.
Yeah, for sure. When he's engaged, like I said, on both ends of the court, that's my biggest thing. We know you have it offensively, but bring it defensively also, so we can see and you can be that type of player that we all think you can be. And like I said, when he does that, his teammates, follow suit. I know DeMar was out there giving his all for defense, taking charges, which I don't really see a lot, but he's definitely doing it. But that just shows you they want to win and how bad they want to win.
And when he's in attack mode, Zach LaVine, he's a different player. And the fact that I think it's safe to say the knee's doing fine. That was my big concern before the year. And that was, I even said at the time when this contract came about, the decision comes up, you've got to max him. You can let him go to another team on a deal. Like, what do you do? Because the knee was a concern. And early in the year, they managed his knee. But this is why you manage that knee and keep him out of the lineup early in the year. Let him get stronger for moments like this, because the season was on the line. He rose to the occasion. Granted, the first half wasn't great. It wasn't great for the entire team. It wasn't just like Zach had a bad night the first half. Everyone did. Yeah. But he rose to the occasion when it mattered. Now the season's still going on.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. Like you said, he took enough time off to hopefully be strong at the end of the season. And hopefully, Miami has good weather right now. Hopefully that knee will be feeling even better when he gets to Miami Beach and feel the good vibes down there in the sunshine and, the good weather. So hopefully we'll be doing the same thing in Miami.
Tell you what, we're having good weather here too. I mean, I've gone out and I've done some sort of golf 3 of the last 4 days. Gone to the driving range. Played 9 holes the other day. I got to get better to beat my sister, but but it's good weather here too. And I'm sure that's going to help too. The fact that it's actually really nice in Chicagoland right now, and the vibes are immaculate right now. And I don't want to buy too much stock into one game. I understand that the play-in is technically not the playoffs, but it feels like to me, a lot of things were cleared up in terms of questions with Zach, with Billy Donovan, with Vooch and DeMar. It seems like we saw this team's true colors when it mattered.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. They're all playing with confidence, playing together. Even when down by 19, they didn't really fold or just give up. They stuck with it. They all battled out, and obviously they came out with the win. But that's where you want to see guys attacking the basket, not selling for jumpers. But sometimes Zach was selling for jumpers, but those are jumpers he can make. So you can live and die with him taking those shots.
So I want to ask you something fun here, because we've talked a lot about what's going to happen this offseason, any moves that are coming. There are still people that want to trade Zach LaVine. After that performance last night against Toronto, is that conversation over, or is it still worth exploring because his value might be increasing?
I mean, for now, you gotta just leave it where it is. He's showed you that he's your superstar player. He's your superstar for the future, and he's a guy that you can build around. Like I said, you just gotta go. You gotta go with the flow. He's knocking down jumpers. He's attacking the basket, making other people better. So yeah, I would dead that talk for now and just make him the cornerstone and add guys and pieces around him.
Now, let me be clear. I'm not ready to ship anyone off right now after that game. Like, it's the play-in tournament. It's the playoffs are starting next week. Like, we're not ready to start talking, oh, this is going to happen soon. Like, do this now. No, 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 no. This is just, after the play-in, it's an overreaction type of Thursday where we're recording this and everybody's overreacting and everything. And it's in a good way, it seems like. That's what I say again. The vibes are good, man. Like, this is as high morale as I've seen Bulls Nation in a while. Like, it feels good.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want a confident team, and I think going to this Miami game, you want a team that's going to be consistent. That's the biggest thing we've been saying about them the whole year. Be consistent. Don't just show it one game, but do it, game after game, and that's what's going to take to win this game. And if they make the playoffs, it's going to take to beat the number one seed. So they got to be consistent and get a winning streak going.
Now, besides the obvious, what's at stake in terms of going to the playoffs, you do know there's one other thing at stake in this game against Miami, right?
That has to be that draft pick, I think.
Nope. Well, yes, that too. But no, it actually, you could even argue it's an even bigger deal. If the Bulls beat Miami, it'll be the first 4-game winning streak of the year.
Oh, that's what we need. That's right there. Hey.
Right. So that's why I'm like, I like the matchup with the Heat. I think they match up better than they did against Toronto.
Yeah.
But there's also that I don't want to call it a mental block, but they've lost enough games when they had a 4-game winning streak on the line.
Right.
Are they going to get over that hump, that mental block of win 4 in a row? Like and again, Miami's Eric Spoelstra to me, and this is another fun discussion point we can have at some point down the road. Eric Spoelstra is arguably the best coach in the NBA, in my opinion. I think you can make a strong case for that. Like, you've got a master tactician who's already talking about lineup changes. Like, there's the opportunity that we've talked about all year, but it's getting through. Is it a mental block? Am I oversimplifying it?
No, it probably is a mental block, but like I said, this can dead all that mental block right here if they can close out and win this game and get to the playoffs. Miami is a desperate team, I feel like, and definitely hungry. I feel like they think they let one slide last game, so hopefully they can come in and hopefully they can come in, and just kind of dominate like they did on the road again. I think are they 2-1 against Miami this season?
I think they're 3-0. I don't think they've lost
3-0. Yeah. So they definitely should go in confident, but hopefully not too confident, but go in there with the hungry attitude and just go out and just beat it, knock them out with the first punch.
And please quit with this 19-point deficit stuff. The 19 points, the 20 points. It's fun. Don't get me. It makes for exciting games down the stretch when you can get going in the second half and the other team's kind of worn down, maybe letting off the gas a little bit. Right. That's all fun. Enough. Please. I don't want to keep sitting here just getting roped back into these games. Like, okay, 19 points, start putting a rundown together, delete the note and start over. Enough with this. You can only do that so much for it to be even a little bit sustainable.
Yeah, they've done a lot this season. It's hard to get out of a hole when you dig yourself into it, especially on the road, but they've done it, and hopefully they don't do it again on against Miami. So like I said, they just got to go out and stay confident, play good basketball, move from side to side, because Miami's defense is pretty good, and I'm sure they're going to make a lot of adjustments to try and calm Zach down, at least contain him. So it's going to be interesting to see what moves they make.
It's going to be very interesting. And I think one other thing that's going to come down in this game is going to be coaching. I already talked about my thoughts on Eric Spoelstra. I feel like we learned something about Billy Donovan in that playing game against Toronto. And Nick Nurse said it after the game. The defensive game plan was fantastic. The way they blitzed Van Vliet, they were still able to box out and cut down on the rebounds. The Bulls actually made 4 more field goals than Toronto did. I thought this was going to be one of those games where Toronto took 15 more shots, whatever. Toronto only got 1 more shot off than the Bulls did. And yes, the free throw disparity. Yes, you had the defensive player of the year in DeMar DeRozan sitting in the stands, but the defense that Billy Donovan drew up, that was impressive, containing that long athletic Raptors team.
Yeah, it was definitely impressive. Definitely had questions and concerns about it going in, but the game plan was was on point as it could be. Only thing I would change is I just didn't like Vooch switching on Van Vliet a lot.
I agree.
He kind of exposed him a little bit, kind of got a couple stops, but I think maybe down the stretch against Miami, I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe switching on to Jimmy Butler or Kyle Lowry type player. So hopefully they can, figure something out, go to a drop hedge or something like that. So hopefully they can do something better to get those matchups situated.
And that's where it came down to the fact that Toronto was getting desperate down the stretch. Is that Vooch got switched out, but VanVleet was just shooting threes to try and make something happen. So you got lucky with that. You know, a wise friend of mine once told me it's better to be lucky than good. Like you did get lucky. Like there was luck involved. I mean, VanVleet, 8 for 22 from the field, 7 to 13 from 3. Like that's an off night, but when they get desperate like that, I mean, he still had 26 points. Like, there were still ways Toronto could have beaten you, and they just fumbled the bag at the free throw line.
For sure. Yeah. And the Bulls didn't really have a great 3-point shooting night once
7 for 26.
We always knew that, but hopefully they can, shore that up. Maybe get to the mid range more and dump the ball to Vooch more, because he's going to have to be a big presence again, on the offensive end and defensively, on the board. So it's going to be interesting to see what lineups they throw at him.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting matchup for sure. And I just go back to, this is a much more favorable lineup matchup. Like Toronto, like I talked about the other day, long, athletic, they're tall, they're big. The Bulls are small. They can't shoot the three. They, their defense has come a long way this year. Like that's one of the focal points. Like one of the bright spots is the defense has come a long way, and you saw that. And one last point on Billy Donovan, speaking of that, like the way they defended, the way they got out in transition and just stuck to their game plan, it was all great. Was it a prove it game for Billy Donovan as head coach after the secret extension in the offseason, the way the regular season went, everything that happened? Am I wrong to call this a prove it game, the Raptors game?
I mean, I guess you can say that, especially with all the success they had the year before and then kind of underachieving this year. But I think the prove it game is going to be against Miami, against, like you said, another great coach, Eric Spoelstra, and see the tactics that he uses to try and, coincide to throw off Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra. So I think this game coming up is a more prove it game to actually see if Billy Donovan can really, overthrow someone like him in the Miami Heat.
I think that's a good way to put it too. I thought about that when I was putting this together. I'm like, was the Raptors game the one? But you got to win the Raptors game to get to this one. And the coaching matchup is going to be so interesting with how they use the X's and O's. Like Eric Spoelstra is very good. Billy Donovan's a different type. He's kind of that hands off, but he's also very detail oriented. We've heard that from Pat Bev numerous times this year. Like, and that's just, and I say this year, it's only been the 2 months, a month and a half that he's been there. You've heard about Billy Donovan's attention to detail. Like, this is going to be very much a chess match, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to in the playing game and in playoffs. Like, is who's more detailed, who has more structure, who's been doing all the plays. I know when we played playoffs with Tibbs, we knew every play from top to bottom, and it was crazy at the time thinking about it. But now when I look back at it, Tibbs had us so prepared. We were calling out their plays, we were knowing where they were going. So it's definitely details, and details is going to win the series and a playoff playing game.
Yeah, Tibbs is a different kind of animal though than these two guys.
He's crazy.
That we're going to watch on Friday. Tibbs, Spoelstra is very calm on the sideline. Billy Donovan's calm outside. I don't want to know how much gum he chews during a game, but comparing them, and so you got two quiet guys, quiet demeanor, master tacticians, and then Tibbs is just. He's Tibbs. I don't know I don't know what other way to put it. I mean, you'd know better than me, obviously.
He doesn't have a life. His life is basketball, and that's what he does. That's why he's been so successful. So I definitely, I'd rather have that than someone who doesn't really care.
I miss Tibbs. I'm be honest. I miss him. I mean, that was one before they hired Billy Donovan. I actually threw out the idea of, hey, what about bringing Tibbs back? And obviously, we saw what happened here. And someone else I miss is Jimmy Butler. And I think the play-in tournament is a way of poetry here. DeMar going back to Toronto. Now you've got the Bulls facing Jimmy Butler with the season on the line. It's too poetic. And I want to see how Jimmy comes out, because it's been an interesting year for the Heat. Jimmy's been very outspoken. We've talked about that a lot, how we calling out his guys because he's a natural leader. He's going to call you out, and that's just his style. He's going to say it to you in the locker room. He's going to say it to everybody else too. I love it. That's why I miss him, and I still would do that trade again. But just that aspect to it's an interesting storyline to this game Friday night.
Yeah, for sure. I think all these playing games have been giving you kind of like a glimpse of an NCAA tournament-esque type of tournament. Definitely stories to be had in every playing game. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jimmy has his team come out. They're any aggressive or just still lingering from the night before. I think they're still kind of banged up and hurt. So I think this is perfect time for the Bulls to play them and go down there and get a win.
And they've also got to avoid the fact that they just played Atlanta Atlanta, that's been an interesting situation all year. And the way I put it, I went on with the guys at the charity stripe the other night. They went on the Amazon amp and we were just watching the game and I called in just to shoot the breeze. And
Yeah,
I brought up how Atlanta just something doesn't seem right there, yet they still managed to win that game. Now Miami's got the problems. So if the Bulls pull this off Friday, and again, they're 5.5-point underdogs, game tips off at 6 p.m. Central on ESPN. If they pull it off, there's going to be a lot more questions with the Heat than there already are. And there's a long list for Miami.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm going with the Bulls to win again. I think they can close out on the road and get that AFC locked up and try to give the Bucks a test. So hopefully, the Bulls can make me right once again. I want to be 3-0, 4-0, something like that. So I'm not counting though.
No, you're not counting at all. Might even be 5-0. I don't even know. You'd know better than I would. I'm actually going to roll with you here. I think I like the Bulls in this matchup, just with the Spoels just talking about different lineups, and there was talk of Gabe Vincent and Kyle Lowry jumping in starting lineup, all that different stuff. And I didn't get to read the full quote on it. I saw a little bit, but they're considering lineup changes. The Bulls small ball lineup, I like that a lot, even with Adebayo out there. Like, I still think small ball is going to be the name of the game, and that's why I'm so intrigued, I think, is just to see how these teams match up again, because Bulls went 3-0 in the regular season, at least by my count. I don't think they lost to the Heat once. So very interesting stuff. Can you beat a team 4 times is the question. I know that's kind of like a cliche. I'm not even sure the players think about that. Like, I'll ask, maybe you can chime in on that, but beating a team 4 times is tough.
Yeah, it's definitely hard because you know them so well and they know you so well. And I think another big story in this game is Pat Bev also being drafted by Miami and played in Miami. And I think he's going to be, super excited and, always geeked up to go to a former team and win the game, and especially on the road. So his antics is going to be hopefully help the team more than hurt them. But like I said, they got to have some kind of scoring come from like between him and Alex Caruso for them to, get over the hump, I think.
All right. Who's he calling too small? Jimmy? Bam, Hero. Who do we think? He's got to have that in his bag somewhere for this.
The whole arena.
go up to Spo and call him too small.
Right, yeah. I'm sure he'll pull something out that makes us laugh about it. So it's gonna be fun to see.
I mean, he's got some leverage considering the ref last night called him Pat Bev. I thought that cracked me up when the ref called him Pat Bev, like not Beverly, not, number, what number is he? 21, whatever. Like not number 21, which was ironically Jimmy's number. Like he called him Pat Bev. That I about fell out of my chair. I'm like, I laughed way too hard at it. Granted, I was in the middle of a desk shift for On 3. I just finished writing about Nick Saban's press conference yesterday. So it's a little like, coming down off that. And I heard that. I'm like, okay. That was funny.
yeah. That just means the rest are watching TV and the rest are into it. So it's good. He's a superstar.
Chicago proud, man.
Right.
Chicago guys are different. Like we talked about that a lot. Chicago guys are different. I know I make fun of Anthony Davis not being able to stay healthy, but he's a Chicago guy. Like there's a different mentality there, and look no further than Pat Bev to prove that, especially when he's on a first name basis, a nickname basis with the referees.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, that's great. And I still, I don't know if it's feasible. I don't know if it should happen. I wanted to maybe try and find a way to keep him next year just so we have the content that comes from him. But he's going to be on one in Miami Friday night. And obviously, as we said, the winner gets a date with the Bucks as the number 8 seed in the playoffs. Now, the Bulls had their way with the Bucks, too, in the regular season. Like they pulled out a couple wins against Milwaukee. They didn't toward the end, even though they didn't have Giannis and Middleton. But that's neither here nor there. It's a new season, like we said the other day. The play-in, you got to approach it as one game at a time. It's cliche, it's annoying, and coaches will say it over and over again. I know that very well from being in the media for 5 years. Like they'll say it over and over, but it's a new season. Go out there and go win a basketball game, and please don't trail by 19 points again.
Yeah. Anything can happen in one game. Like I said, hopefully no injuries, but you just got to go out there and play the best you can and have the best game plan you can, and just work it to your ability, and just like I said, just go out and make some shots. That's the biggest thing. You can't just go out there and just hope for anything to go in. Just take precise, conscious shots.
They need 2 things: Zach to stay in attack mode, and DeMar DeRozan to stay front row screaming during the free throws, because I want to see if she can do it again. But
yes, we'll get our pinks up for her.
Definitely, someone's got to call the superintendent.
All right, yeah.
Like there's got to be a way. I know DeMar said she's got to go back to school. Well, come on.
Yeah, forget school. Nobody needs school.
I mean, no comment. My mom's a teacher. I got to be careful. my mom's a teacher for another year, but I got to be a little careful on that.
Right.
But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode. We previewed the game Friday night, as I said, 6 p.m. Central, ESPN, Bulls Heat. Winner goes to the playoffs, loser goes home. Either way, the loser's going to have a lot of questions to answer about their roster going forward into the offseason. I think the Heat are in more dangerous territory than the Bulls in terms of losing a game. But, it's going to be an interesting game Friday night, and I'm intrigued to see the antics between Pat Bev and Jimmy Butler, especially.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a high energy game, high impact game, a physical game. So as long as the Bulls can, stop their physicality, I think they have this game in hand. Yeah,
it's going to be fun. 6 p.m. Friday's tip-off. That's a wrap for today's episode of Believe in Bulls here on the Believe Network, presented by BetOnline.ag. Use that promo code BLEAV. 50% welcome bonus. As I said, Bulls are 5.5-point underdogs according to BetOnline, plus 180 on the money line. And buy your shirt, Jordan Pippen 98, The Last Dance, shop.believe.com. CJ, what do you say we do this again next week? And win or lose, we'll be back here.
Hopefully in a win, though. I think they're going to win, hopefully.
I've got more confidence in this one than I did in the last one. And you saw what happened in the last one.
So I don't
know how I feel about my confidence, though, because I haven't won a bet in a while. But anyway, on that note, we'll see everybody next week. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the basketball.